Hi everyone, welcome to this exciting session by Simplilearn. Today, we have a really interesting topic for you. In this video, we'll be analyzing the upcoming United States presidential election using Twitter sentiment analysis in Python. In the course of this session, we will understand in brief about the upcoming election, the candidates fighting the 2020 US election, and throw light on the result of the 2016 US election. We'll look at the election forecast by some of the popular news agencies as well as poll analysis websites such as 538. Before we begin, I want to make it clear that this video is solely for learning purposes. We at Simplilearn do not lean towards any party in the United States or are biased towards any candidate. The analysis is based on what people have tweeted, and we will understand the mood and sentiment of the public. The main objective of this video is to help you understand how to extract tweets from Twitter handles using Python libraries, store it in a CSV file, and perform textual analysis. The results obtained are purely based on the data that we have collected. Let's begin. The battle for the 2020 US presidential election has begun with the 59th United States presidential election scheduled to be held on the 3rd of November 2020. This will decide who will be in the White House for the next 4 years. All 435 seats in the United States House of Representatives, 35 of the 100 seats in the United States Senate, and office of the President of the United States will be contested. Both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have nominated their respective president and vice presidential candidates. The incumbent president, Donald Trump, is the Republican nominee, while the 47th Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, is the Democratic Party's nominee. The current Vice President, Mike Pence, is the Republican Party's vice presidential nominee and is running for a second term in office. Senator Kamala Harris of California was chosen by Joe Biden as his running mate on 11th of August 2020. Now, let's see the results of the last US presidential election in 2016. The Republican ticket of businessman Donald Trump and Indiana Governor Mike Pence had defeated the Democratic ticket of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and US Senator from Virginia Tim Kaine. Donald Trump received a total of 304 electoral votes, while Hillary Clinton got 227 electoral votes. A significant number of central states in the United States were swept by the Republican Party. It was surprising to see that Donald Trump getting nearly 46.4% popular vote as compared to Hillary Clinton, who got 48.5% votes. Donald Trump's victory came after crucial wins in the battleground states of Florida, Ohio, Iowa, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Will Donald Trump be re-elected to the White House, or are we going to see a new president and a vice president of the United States is the big question. Let's see what our pollsters have to say and what has been their forecast for the upcoming election. According to 538, Donald Trump has not gained ground since the final debate on 22nd of October. At this moment, Joe Biden is favored to win the election and he leads in both national and state polls. The Economist is analyzing polling, economic and demographic data to predict the US elections. Their model thinks Joe Biden is very likely to beat Donald Trump in the Electoral College. As per their forecast, Joe Biden has 96% chance of winning the Electoral College, and there's 99% chance of Biden winning the most votes. The Democrats have 75% chance of controlling the Senate, while the Republicans have around 25%. The Democrats are highly likely to keep their majority in the House of Representatives. Now, according to The Guardian, Joe Biden is leading Donald Trump in the national polls for the presidential election. But to keep in mind, this does not guarantee the Democratic candidate Joe Biden's victory. Hillary Clinton also had a clear lead over Donald Trump in the polls for almost the entire 2016 campaign. She ended up losing the Electoral College. Now, the BBC forecast tells that Biden is leading national presidential polls with 51%. He has hovered around 50% in recent months and has had a 10-point lead on occasions. So clearly, Joe Biden is set to be the next US president. Let's wait and watch what happens on the 3rd of November. The voters of America will decide on 3rd of November whether Donald Trump remains in the White House for another 4 years. Let's perform a Twitter sentiment analysis to understand the sentiments of people tweeting about Donald Trump and Joe Biden by tagging them in their tweets. We have our code implemented already. I'll run through each line of code and explain our analysis in detail. The objective is to check the polarity of each tweet to figure out if it's positive, negative, or neutral. We'll compare the tweets of Donald Trump and Joe Biden to see who people are favoring the most. Finally, we learn to create a word cloud. I have already extracted the tweets and stored them in two separate CSV files. It takes some time to fetch 10,000 tweets, hence it won't be possible for me to show it to you live. If you want to know how we extracted the tweets for Donald Trump and Joe Biden, then please put your email IDs in the comment section of the video. We'll share the code file and the source file with you. Now you would need to install the Tweepy library, fetch the Twitter keys and access tokens, and then authenticate the Twitter API. I've extracted 5,000 tweets each for Donald Trump and Joe Biden, converted it into a data frame, and stored it in a CSV file. So let me open and show you both the files. So here is my data set for Donald Trump. On the top you can see Trump underscore data 5000, which means there are 5000 tweets here. The first column has the number of tweets. It starts from 0 and goes all the way to 4999. The next column is the text column, which has the content of the tweet. You can see they have tagged @real Donald Trump. There are links as well. There are special characters like emoticons. And the third column is the user, which means it's the username who had put that tweet. Similarly, I have another data for Biden. You can see these are for Joe Biden, and here you can see the content. They have tagged Kamala Harris also. Similarly, we have the username. Now let me take you straight to my Jupyter notebook where I have implemented the code. Okay, so first and foremost, let's import all the required libraries. So we have the NumPy library for numerical computation. Then we have the Pandas library for data manipulation. Next we are importing two libraries, Matplotlib and Seaborn, for data visualization. Then we have TextBlob and Word Cloud to get the sentiment and to build the word cloud. And finally we are importing the Plotly library for creating graphs. Let me run this cell. In the current cell, we'll import the datasets using read_CSV function present in the Pandas library. So I have passed in my location where the data file is, so I have placed it on my desktop, and the index_col parameter or column parameter refers to the columns to be used as the row labels of the data frame. Here 0 indicates that the first column will be used as row labels. Let me run it. Okay, now we have imported both the data files. Let me go ahead and print the shape of one of the data frames. So I'll write print. Let's say we'll check the shape of Biden data frame. So I'll write print Biden dot shape. I'll hit shift enter. You can see there are 5000 rows and there are two columns. One is the text column and the next column is the user column. Now let me go ahead and print the head of the datasets. So the head function will return the first 5 rows. I'll write Trump dot head. You can see these are the first 5 rows from the Trump data frame. And similarly, if you want to check for Biden, I can write Biden dot head. You can see it here. Now you can also use the info method. So let me show you that. You can write Trump.info, and this is the result. So it tells there are 5000 entries from 0 to 4999. There are two columns, and these are the number of rows, and similarly you have the data types. Okay, moving ahead, in the next cell I am displaying the 200th tweet present in the Trump data frame. So I have my data frame name mentioned, then I have my text column, and inside one more square bracket I have put 200, which means I want to see what's there in the 200th row. If I hit enter, so you can see this was the tweet, fake shit, fake president. Next, let me show you the tweet number 1000 for Biden. So I'll write Biden, and inside square brackets I'll give the text column, and the number is 1000. If I hit Shift Enter, so this is the tweet. Now the text blob function is used in natural language processing. The sentiment property returns a named tuple in the form of sentiment, in brackets, polarity and subjectivity. Let's check the sentiment of the 200th tweet made for Donald Trump. If I hit Shift Enter, you can see this was the polarity. Now minus 0.399 means the polarity was negative, and you can see the subjectivity is around 0.933. Similarly, let's check for Biden's tweet number 1000. So I'll write text blob, which is my function name, and inside brackets I'll give Biden, then pass in my column name, that is text, and I'll give the row number, which is 1000, and then I'll give the parameter or the attribute sentiment. If I hit Shift Enter, you can see the polarity and the subjectivity. Now moving ahead, here I have defined a function that will add another column called polarity to our two data frames, Trump and Biden. Let me run this. Okay. In the next cell, I have used the apply function that will return the polarity based on the tweets. You can see we have the apply function. This might take some time to run it. Okay, we are done now. Let me now display the top 5 rows of the data frame. So what I'll do is I'll click on this cell, go to insert, and I'll hit insert cell below. Let's do one more. Okay, now here I'll display the head of the data frame once again so that you can see the polarity column added. You can see it here. So for Donald Trump, we have the polarity. You can see the tweet and the polarity. Now 0.0, which means these are neutral, minus is negative, and anything that's in positive value indicates it's a positive tweet or it has positive polarity. Similarly, let's see for Biden. I'll write Biden.head. Okay, so here you can see the polarity for Biden. Now this 0.5 means it's a positive tweet. Okay. Now I want to create another column called expression, where we will classify the tweets as positive, negative or neutral based on the polarity value. So I have used the np.where function, and the condition we have here is if polarity is greater than 0, it's a positive tweet, else if it is less than 0, it's a negative tweet, and if the polarity is equal to 0, it means it's a neutral tweet. Let me run this. Okay, so here you can see we have the column called expression, and it has classified the polarity based on negative, neutral as well as positive. Similarly, let's do the same for Biden data frame as well. Okay. Before moving ahead, if you want to get access to the source code and the datasets we have used in this demo, then please put your email address in the chat section. We'll send it to you via mail. Also, please subscribe to Simplilearn channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update from Simplilearn. In the next cell of code, we have another function that will basically help us creating a bar plot based on the expression column from both the data frames. So this is my user-defined function name, and it has two parameters, reviews and title. You can see we have grouped the expression column and found out the count using the count function. Then we have created or converted it into a list. Similarly, below you can see here we have defined the color for the bars using RGB values. Now let me run it. Okay, so we have successfully created our user-defined function. Now let me go ahead and call the function and pass in my two parameters, reviews and title. So here we have the function name, and under reviews we have the data frame name Trump, and the title we have given is analysis for Trump. Let me run this. Okay, so you can see we have a horizontal bar plot. On the top you can see the title of the plot, which is analysis for Trump, and as per the tweets it has classified as positive, neutral or negative. If I hover over, you can see there were 2,831 neutral tweets, 1,211 positive tweets, and similarly there were 958 negative tweets for Donald Trump. Now let me call that function once again. So I'll write exp_graph, which is my function name. Then I'll pass in my parameters. This time I'll take Biden, and the title I'll put is analysis for Biden. If I run it, okay, you can see the plot for Biden now. If I hover over, there were 1,290 positive tweets for Biden and 747 negative tweets. Okay, let's scroll down. Now let me check the number of rows that have polarity equal to 0, the number of rows that have polarity less than 0 and greater than 0 for both the data frames using the dot shape attribute. So first we have for Trump, now equal to 0 means we are checking the total number of neutral tweets. You can see the result. Now let's check for Biden. We have the result below. Let me run it. Okay. Now we'll drop those columns that have a polarity equal to 0 from both the data frames and display the shape. You can see we have the condition mentioned, and we have also used the drop function. So all the neutral tweets will be deleted, and I'm printing the shape of the data frame. There you go. So out of the 5,000 tweet, it has deleted all the neutral tweets or dropped all the neutral tweets, and this is the final result. In the current cell, we have defined another function called balanced_data. Now this will help us get an equal number of rows and columns and delete a specified number of rows. Let me run it. Alright. Now I'll call that function to delete 169 rows from the Trump's data frame and 37 rows from Biden's data frame. This will help us subset the data frames. You can see we have now 2000 tweets from each of the data frames. Up next, we'll create some visualizations to analyze the textual data. So first, I'm using the Seaborn library and creating a distribution plot for Donald Trump. If I hit Shift Enter, you can see this is the distribution plot. There are bars at the back and there's a trend line. Okay. Similarly, let me now create a box plot. So this is a box plot. Here you can see there are some outliers. Now let me add a few cells below so that I can show that plot for Biden. So I'll write SNS dot, I'll use the function dist plot, and under this plot I'll give Biden underscore subset, and I'll pass in my column that is polarity. Let me run it. So this is the distribution plot for Joe Biden. And now let me also create the box plot. So I'll use the Seaborn library and the box plot function. I'll pass in my data frame, which is Biden underscore subset, and I'll give my column name that is polarity. I'll run it. So here you can see the box plot for Joe Biden. Let me tell you how you can create a cross table using the group by function. So before coming to this cell of code, let me insert cell above. Okay. Now using group by function, you can create a cross table. So I'll use the Trump underscore subset data frame, and then I'll give my group by function, and inside group by function I'll give my expression column, and I'll count the number of expressions. If I run this, you can see this is a cross table. Similarly, you can do it for Joe Biden as well. I'll just replace the names. I'll write Biden and the rest is the same. You can see this is the cross table for Biden underscore subset. Now moving ahead, let's find the polarity percentage for negative and positive tweets. To do this, I have defined a function called poll underscore percent, and we have two parameters declared, subset and total. Let me run this. Okay. Now here I am calling the above defined function and printing the polarity percentage for Biden and Trump. And I have mentioned my two parameters, subset and the total number. So these are the values. Moving ahead, now let's create a bar graph that will show the negative and positive polarity percentage for Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Let me hit Shift Enter. You can see we have a really good bar graph now. If I hover the mouse cursor, you can see Donald Trump had 27.825% of positive tweets and 22.17 negative. Similarly, Joe Biden had 31.6 positive tweets and 18.4 negative tweets. Now we want to find the public sentiment based on Trump and Biden tweets. Let me run this two cells first. Okay. Now for Donald Trump, the total positive polarity is a combination of Trump's total positive percentage and Biden's negative percentage. Similarly, for Joe Biden, the total positive polarity is a combination of Biden's total positive percentage and Trump's negative percentage. Let me run this. You can see the result here. Next, let's plot a horizontal bar graph to visualize the public sentiment. We have our X and Y labels defined. We also have set our bar colors with the help of RGB values, and we have the title as well. Now if I go up, you can see this is the public sentiment. So 26.88 is the percentage that is in favor of Joe Biden, and for Donald Trump you have 23.11. Now coming down, now in the next cell of code we have a user defined function that will basically plot a table which has the most positive tweets for Donald Trump and Joe Biden. The condition we are checking is that the polarity should be equal to 1. So if it's close to 1 or equal to 1, which means the tweet has positive polarity. Let me run it. Okay. Now let me go ahead and call the function now. Let me scroll over to the top. You can see these are the top 5 positive tweets for Donald Trump, and here you can see the top 5 positive tweets for Joe Biden. Likewise, let's check the polarity for most negative tweets. Here the condition will be the polarity should be equal to -1, which means it's highly negative. Let me run it. Okay. Now let's go ahead and call the function negative tweets. So I'll write neg underscore tweets, and then inside bracket I'll give my parameters, which is Trump underscore subset, and then I'll give my title as negative tweets for Donald Trump. Okay, now I'll just copy this. We'll also check for Joe Biden, so I'll just replace this with Biden, and let's say negative tweet for Joe Biden. Let's run it. Okay, if I go on top, here you can see the top negative tweets for Donald Trump, and similarly we have the top 5 negative tweets for Joe Biden. Alright, finally let's see how to create a word cloud. Now, word cloud is a method to show which words are most frequently occurring among the given text. I have defined a function called word cloud, you can see here, and it has two parameters, data and title. Inside the built-in function or the word cloud function, we have mentioned the max font size, the maximum words, scale value, there's also background color which is white. Okay, let's run it. Now this will create a word cloud. So let me go ahead and call the word cloud function and pass in the arguments. So I'll write word cloud, which is my user defined function, and I'll give my parameters Trump underscore subset, comma, I'll give my title as word cloud for Donald Trump. Let's say Donald Trump tweet replies. Okay. Similarly, let's do it for Joe Biden. I'll write word cloud Biden underscore subset, and then I'll give the title as word cloud for Joe Biden tweet replies. Okay, let me run it. There you go. You can see we have a nice word cloud. So on the top you can see the title which says word cloud for Donald Trump tweet replies. So here you can see some of the words like real Donald Trump, then there's president, love, right, all these. Similarly, if I scroll down, you can see the word cloud for Joe Biden tweet replies. You can see this is the handle Joe Biden, false. There are some other words like due, taxes, believe, even, will, it's fact, and you can see Kamala Harris name here. Okay, now that brings us to the end of this demo on Twitter sentiment analysis using text data. You learned how to classify tweets and find the polarity. We also looked at how to create interesting visualizations with this data and understood the mood of the public. Finally, you saw how to create a word cloud that had the most frequently occurring words in the tweets. If you want to get the source file and the source code that we have used in this demo, then please put your email IDs in the comment section. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching and keep learning.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.